Andrew, welcome to the Playbook Podcast.
Thanks, Alec. Great to be here.
Yes, you are the founder of Flykitt. What is Flykitt?
Flykitt is the first product that eliminates jet lag. I have to say that seems like a strong claim, but based on the data we have, 93% of people can fly anywhere in the world with minimal to no jet lag. Based on a study we ran with Inter Miami, a pro soccer team, the players who use Flykitt saw 94% less travel symptoms on a 4-city, 5-game, fully round the world trip that their performance staff tracked.
That's insane. And so you've been in the human performance game for a while. Where did kind of your, human performance journey start?
It started because I had a very strange academic background. It's a little bit of a long story, but I had graduate degrees in immunology, national security policy, and health physics. And somebody walked into the career center at Georgetown where I was and said, "Hey, we need someone who does biology, national security, and can write." And they're like, "Well, we know this guy Andrew." And so instead of going and working on like bioweapons defense and nuclear weapons defense, I got hired to run studies on the future of human enhancement for the Secretary of Defense's private think tank on the future of warfare. And that started a career in the space.
Yeah, absolutely badass. And when were you like, okay, hey, I see kind of a gap in the market of like, I can take what I'm doing for the military and like, elite CEOs and kind of adopt that into the, casual traveler market?
So what I was, while I was working with the military, I was also coaching executives on the side, kind of very high price bespoke programs. And it was a Sunday. And one of my clients said, "Hey, Andrew, we're flying to Asia all the time to close these business deals. We land at 4 p.m. There's a big dinner that night. And they want to negotiate at 7 a.m. the next morning. They're using jet lag as a negotiating tool. Like, what should we do?" I was like, "Great. When are you leaving?" He's like, "Tuesday." I was like, "Awesome. I'll deliver you a program tomorrow." And so I had this opportunity to sit down and put together all the research and work I was familiar with on, sleep and circadian rhythms alongside these tools that I knew helped manage when you weren't getting enough sleep. And then alongside what turned into be the insight that sort of broke the whole jet lag thing open, which was that pressure changes in flight cause inflammation and so long story short, when I put in together protocols that manage this flight inflammation, so when you go out to altitude really quickly, it's like climbing an 8,000-foot mountain in 15 minutes. So that's causing all kinds of havoc in your body. And
Right.
then managing the inflammation from not sleeping as much, and then managing the circadian piece. And when I put together this supplement plus blue light blocking glasses plus timing strategy, like typed out on a Word doc, box of supplements, took it to David. David emailed me from Seoul, Korea 2-3 days later and said, "What did you do?" "I just slept 8 hours my first night." And so that was kind of the first time I ever tried it and it worked. And then I had these clients and I kept developing it, and it kept working and it kept working. And then eventually what really brought me over the edge was I saw this opportunity to do something at scale. Like I was coaching executives and charging 5-10 grand a month. Like that there's some fun in that. And I like helping individuals and I love being able to go into minute detail. But to
Sure.
be able to help tens, hundreds of thousands, millions of people is a different proposition. And so the opportunity to help more people is what really pulled me into like, let's build a product.
For sure, man. And then, like, right when I discovered this product, I'm like, this is going to completely change how my mind goes directly to athletes about how athletes are constantly traveling, how, circadian rhythm can really affect how they show up on game day. How have you kind of integrated it into the, pro athlete world?
Yeah, different teams use it in different ways. So our technology is used by teams like USA Soccer, where their guys have to come back. Many of our pros play in Europe, and then they come back. So they have to be ready not just for games, but they also have to come back and be ready for a short training camp because like our national
Right.
team doesn't get to keep the guys for that long. So that, and then when they go back to games, and so that they use it that way. Other teams might travel internationally once a year, right? In the NFL, they have a few international games a year. And so those teams are looking for maximum support, maximum protection using our technology, and then individual players and Olympic athletes using. So, dozens of pro and Olympic teams use it in different ways. And the thing we're really excited about is we just launched our Flykitt domestic product. So, taking all the insight and technology around how to stop the flight inflammation and applying it to domestic flights where you don't have as big a circadian shift. Obviously, LA
Sure.
to New York or vice versa, you have 3 hours and that matters. But so we're really excited this year, the first time to roll out the domestic version and help teams, not just when they're going to Europe or Asia to play, but now really helping them for every game they fly.
For sure. And you guys have kind of gone through iterations where you've like added features to the product. So what did it kind of start as, and like what do you kind of get when you get the initial kit?
Yeah, what it started as was like literally a typed out Microsoft Word document. At this time, do this thing. At this time, do this thing. And it included, um, at that time, I think 4 different supplements and a pair of blue light blocking glasses that were very ugly. And now, what you get is an app that can use our AI algorithms to customize a plan that's customized to your body and to your trip and to your sleep schedule for any trip, any flights in the world. And the accuracy and adaptability of it is tremendous. So you're getting a plan that, if your flights are delayed, it'll fix itself and update the plan and things like that. We've since added a 5th supplement to the plan, and each of the original 4 have now been upgraded to have multiple components. And so basically
Amazing.
now it's upgraded supplements that are more effective. Adding a 5th one that we kind of learned later was the optimal combination of resetting your peripheral circadian rhythm. So, we always talk about circadian rhythm in the brain. So that's like your suprachiasmatic
Sure.
nucleus, center in your brain that controls your circadian rhythm. But what about the parts of your brain that are working like hormones and digestion and others? Some of that's being run peripherally. And so we need to reset your peripheral circadian rhythm too. And so we have this drink mix we call circadian reset. And that's really been added in a way that makes the experience much better. So, and the final piece is we now have tools where you can walk into any gym in the world, take photos of it, and it'll make a workout for that equipment. We have the most advanced tech in the world to find healthy restaurants, whether you're in Bangkok or Bangalore or Sydney or London. So really, we want to make it easy and smooth to be healthy while you travel.
I love it, man. Yeah, huge fan of the gym app. I've been using it here in LA just to test it out. But were there any brands or people that like strongly influenced you when you were like, hey, I want to take this kind of entrepreneur leap and start building a company?
I think the early gen wearables were there when I was early in my career. And I think, probably playing with early Aura Ring, for example. I mean, I don't know if you ever saw the ceramic one that was like giant. It was like a piece of costume
I
jewelry,
don't think so.
Gen 1. And I had a Gen 1 Aura Ring, and it was super interesting. And I was able to use that data and also see the strengths of like things like wearable tracking, and also the weaknesses, which were like, hey, what people really want is to know what to do. And so I obviously as a coach could interpret the wearable data and then use that to run experiments and help them know what to do. But when I designed a product, I really wanted something that helped people know what to do to solve some problems, take advantage of some opportunity. And so I think that, with Flykitt and our jet lag product and now our domestic product that blocks flight inflammation, it feels great to be able to make it simple. Like giving you data and telling you to do it like is not a great solution long term. That's why a lot of wearables kind of end up in the drawer. But I want you to I want to make it easy for you. I want to make life easy for you. I want to make it easy to feel great and be healthy.
That's amazing. What are some of the responses you've got from people discovering the product for the first time, being like, oh, this has completely changed my life in this way? What are some good responses you've heard?
One very common one was, I was so skeptical, but I figured I'll buy it because you have a money back guarantee and it's amazing. I'll never travel without it. Other ones that are interesting are people who are like, hey, I now go to the Middle East for business or Asia and do it for a day or two because I can come back and not feel awful and I can perform well in there, and it lets me be with my family more. So basically treating trips to Asia and the Middle East like short hop flights to in the US. That's a really big change. They used to go for a week before, so they didn't feel horrible there and didn't feel horrible back. And yeah, so those are like 2 ones that really stick out in my mind.
I love it, man. Yeah, it's completely revolutionizing how people travel. And then, yeah, I mean, to get that, family time back with, the people you love to be more present, it all matters.
I also love,
Well,
obviously
yeah.
one of the core pieces of this is we're blocking this flight inflammation. And I love to hear people be like, I used to always get sick when I traveled and now I don't. And
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the really interesting things is, everyone talks about you get sick when you travel because you're in an airport and you're around a lot of other people and you're in a plane. But the research suggests that on a plane, like the air is getting filtered pretty quickly, pretty
Mm-hmm.
often. And so our model of what's going on is, sure, you get exposed to other people, but you go to the mall and don't get sick all the time. it's
Right.
because flying drops your defenses. That inflammation basically takes your immune system and distracts it, and now you're in a bad situation. So I love this idea of people not having to get as sick when they travel. And we don't have clinical trial data on this, but we have this very interesting note, which is like, how many people email us and say, oh, I didn't feel well when I used your product, or I had gut issues. And there's actually research studies out there on how often people get like diarrhea or other things when they travel. And our
Yeah.
travelers are almost all going internationally. And the rate at which we hear from people is way lower than you'd expect. And so I can't prove this with the data we have, but I suspect it's not only just like upper respiratory, I think it's preventing for people from getting like gut issues too, and
Mm-hmm.
infections when they travel.
Amazing, man. Well, we're getting into my favorite part of the podcast where I ask our guests to share their flow stack. What is in Andrew's current flow stack?
So my current flow stack is workout every day. That's a very
Okay.
low tech version, but super high value. And because right now I'm pushing longer and longer runs, I don't get any money from this brand, but there's a company called King Orchards that makes the best tart cherry juice I've ever found. It's a concentrate stored in the
Okay.
freezer. They make little individual stick packs. Like when I need to recover after a 10+ mile run, like that is gonna double the recovery speed. Um, what else? Um, on the sleep side, I'm using
Yeah.
blue light blocking glasses before I go to bed,
Okay.
and I'm sleeping in a cold, dark room. Super important. I think an underappreciated sleep tool is I take a shower before I go to bed. There's actually a bunch of research on this, and it helps you
Hmm.
for a bunch of reasons. Um, Basically, it like raises your body temperature and then it drops when you get out, and that actually is a sign to your brain that it's time to go to sleep. Plus, it washes off all the
Okay.
allergens and stuff. So I think underrated thing. Um, and
Are you a
then
sleep mask or mouth tape guy?
I'm not. I mean, I've played with
No.
them. I don't like
Sure.
things touching my face while I'm sleeping, to be honest. And
Yeah.
I don't trust those adhesives on the mouth tape, to be perfectly honest.
Sure.
Um, so yeah, so those are like some of the things I love. On the supplement side, I think matching up pro-anabolic like muscle building proteins, which could be whey or BCAA powder directly with collagen. Like I think people not taking collagen also are leaving things on the table. And
Yeah.
then when I travel, so we're on really the Gen 3 or 4, depending how you count it, Flykitt. And I'm obviously testing the Gen 5 on myself when I travel. And so people are watching me like pour blue powders into like water bottles on the plane and thinking, what's this guy doing? But it's all for science, all for helping people more. And so we have some additional things coming up that I think are going to help people even more.
Amazing. What about gear? You mentioned you do a little bit of running. Any favorite pair of running shoes or like shorts?
I think if I'm going to call it running gear, the Solomon running backpacks are the best piece of running gear I've ever used. The water bottles that come in them, I don't know if I want to drink out of that plastic, but like it does, like you can have a keys and a wallet and other things you need, and they don't bounce around. I use Brooks running shoes. I don't, you know, I'm not terribly picky, but I
Picky.
just like
Yeah.
it's all about having the exact right fit for where my arch is and where the things match. But if I'm going to pick out running gear, it's going to be that Solomon running backpack for there, and my tart cherry juice afterwards, which frankly is more important than anything there. And then, look, other things, get me in a sauna, great. I love it, especially a hot sauna. I'll do infrared too, but I prefer a standard hot sauna.
Same.
Also love that.
Yeah. I prefer the dry sauna too. What last thing I wanted to touch on was you already hit on supplement. Oh no, so hydration. Do you have a favorite like hydration brand?
I take a lot of magnesium, but I don't find that I work better with hydration
Okay.
salts.
Yeah.
I think this is actually something people should experiment with. Some people do way better with more salt and stuff in their diet, and it makes me perform much worse. And so,
Yeah.
when I do need it, if I'm running really long and it's hot and I'm sweating out a lot and there's a risk there, I like LMNT. I'll use their
Okay.
unflavored stuff.
Sure.
But I think, and for gels, I like the Cliff gel, the chocolate ones, but I only
Okay.
use those when I'm doing. I used to do like long, like 30-mile Spartan races, and so for
Sure.
those you need a gel or something. But for 10 10, 12 mile run around the city or wherever, I'm just going to go on some water alone.
For sure. Yeah, Cliff just came out with like these new Blokes sour cherry gummies. I don't know if the ingredients are that great, but they're delicious.
I don't know about I've never loved the gummies, but they had for a while had a super clean label. Like, I don't know if you'd call it a gel. It was almost like a paste, but like tastes pretty good. It worked well for my body. I like, I'm really into the clean label stuff. And so that means to me, um, not just supplements, but like, can I be eating wild fish, not farmed? Can I be
Sure.
eating grass fed organic beef if I have access to it? Things like that. I'm really trying to optimize what I put in my body. And then also trying to, you wear less plastic that's touching my skin. So I might wear running shorts that are made of synthetic material, or I have some cotton ones. But under that underwear, I have like wool or cotton
Some
underwear
nads or
because,
something.
yeah, I just don't, I want to minimize the amount of plastic touching my body, especially when I'm sweating and it's hot and things like that.
For sure. I love it, man. Where can people find you and Flykitt?
So flykitt.com, FLYKITT.com. Come check it out. It's the best travel tech in the world, and we'd love to make you feel great every time you travel. And then I don't post much on social these days. Honestly, I just found it good for my life to be off social for the most part. But definitely follow us at flykit_travel on Instagram. And if I ever start posting again, it'll be on Twitter at Andrew Herr Bio.
Sweet, man. This was an amazing episode, and thanks for joining the Playbook podcast.
Thanks, Alec. Appreciate you.